detention basin will not impact the structural integrity of the embankment / impoundment structure. So those are the 3 additional waivers that we would be pursuing.
So I guess at this point, if we can at least move forward and get some sense in terms of, get some direction on the waivers, again, which were recommended by the planning commission. We reviewed in detail with them. We can certainly go over the detail again if you wish, but I believe Warren was president of the planning commission meeting, which they were discussed. Get some direction so we can at least move forward, and certainly with regard to the preliminary final land development plan, again, everything that we have, aside from the waivers, everything that is in the review letters will comply from our perspective.
The planning commission doesn't have any issues with these waivers?
They did not, no. Norm, did you have any concerns about the waivers?
No, the letter that just came today was discussed now, and ordinances have to be written to cover everything. But as Joe had kind of pointed out, I don't have any issues with the waivers that they were talking about tonight either.
I'm just trying to figure out what the 6 feet is with trees. Is the root,
Is near utilities,
yeah,
it's just getting,
underground utilities?
exactly,
Just so if there's a
Exactly.
problem, it can get done. And the proposed is roughly what, if,
Just somewhat less than 6. We have a lot of material. And our underground utilities are the storm lines and the sanitary sewer line, which are primarily in the paved area. But in order to get all the landscaping that we need, we might be a little bit less. We certainly would, it's almost like a partial waiver, because we're somewhere less than 6. But we just want that flexibility, because I think landscaping is more important, and these are all private utilities. If any of these were being dedicated for municipal purposes, I think maybe we'd be a little bit more rigid.
right.
But on private property, it's not uncommon to
So
have.
it's utilities for your.
Yeah, just for our property, yes.
and the planning commission, I believe, even encouraged a more intense landscape buffer.
Sure.
So kind of made it a little bit more difficult to comply anymore.
All right.
I don't feel like having issues with these waiver requests.
I'm fine with that, yes.
Do we want to, before we make a motion on these waivers, we do have to make a motion on these waivers, correct?
Well, I guess the question is, should they make a motion on the plan development tonight, or just wait until, yeah. I think we wanna wait, because you're gonna have conditions,
Right.
with your conditional use, and you're gonna want that to be a condition of land development,
Right.
compliance with those. So, at this point, since you've decided not to, vote on your conditional use tonight, we can go ahead and just continue both of these to your September 14th meeting, and then you can consider them together.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want
But
to,
again, can we at least have a motion on the waivers so we know where we stand as far as the waivers are concerned?
I guess if you guys are comfortable with that at this point,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Okay. That's it. Okay. Do we want to have any, open it up for comment?
yeah, I think the public should be able to speak, yep.
Any comments on the waivers?
I'm just taking Norm's advice that it seems like it's gonna be, because I didn't understand all that 6 foot and 8 foot or that, but as long as it's staying in the realm of beautification, trees and all, I think it sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
So just tonight.
All right, so I guess I'll make this motion. Okay, and I will make a motion to approve the requested waivers for land development for the 3-dog garage. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks.
Great, thank you very much, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for moving this up on the agenda.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, so back to the top here. Minutes. Any questions or concerns on the July 13th minutes?
I do not have it.
I will make a motion to approve the July 13th, 2023 meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, treasurer's report, bills to be paid.
All right, the treasurer's report is in your booklet. Nothing real significant to report at this point. I will note that our treasurer's father passed away this week, so we had hoped to have more financial meeting, which we'll postpone to September. The revenue collections through July are at $1,055,459, which is approximately 75.7% of our budget, so we're a little bit ahead on collections. Earned income taxes are trending higher than budgeted, and interest income we're doing very well on because we did refinance some of our CDs. Expenditures are trending under budget. Total general fund expenditures as of the end of July are at $633,826, which is about 46% of the budget. And we do anticipate coming back to you at your workshop in September to talk about reinvestment of some of the CDs that we intended, and to start talking budget and some amendments to the budget for this year, just to kind of get everything in alignment. All right?
Okay.
Any questions on the treasurer's report?
I have no questions on the treasurer's report. Do you have any questions on the treasurer's report?
No.
Then I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented and file for audit. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the bills list is in your packet. Our bills this past month are pretty high compared to most months. We're paying $172,402.14. Nearly, I think 70,000 of that is for Saks and Sons, and then the highway materials needed for our road projects. The Saks and Sons did finish the Sweetsford Road project, and they're currently working on Faust Road. And they also did that small segment of Kratz from Salford Station to 29. So we're paying for those this month. Okay?
I'll make a motion to approve payment of the bills totaling $172,402.14, and to advance to the treasurer the funds to pay any needed bills or expenditures, to save penalties, to accrue interest and payroll prior to the Board of Supervisors' regular monthly meeting on September 14th, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Emergency services.
All right. Plymouth Community Ambulance had 24 calls in the month of July, 10 of which were to Frederick Living, and the fire company had 24 calls.
Okay. Water and sewer.
Everything's running good. No violations.
How's the pump on well number 2?
The pump will be all right.
Okay.
I sent the fecal in, and there was a little confusion, so I have to send another one in, but
Okay.
it works, I tried it.
Great. Okay.
It's been actually running artesianally, so it's, because I'm not running it, so it's actually leaking out the top.
Okay.
There's so much water there,
Got it.
groundwater.
So well number 2 had a pump replacement
Yeah.
necessary, and so Matt's got to go through fecal tests before he can bring it back online.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yes, correct. It's actually more E. coli is
Oh,
really.
E. coli,
what I was-
sorry.
Yeah, it's more important than
Okay.
fecal, but.
Right.
When do
Apparently
when
you gotta
do you
send
think
two-
it'll be online?
Next week. If I needed to use it, I could use it now. But
Okay.
Thank you.
And I guess the pump, I think, is gonna be done 14th or something, or that week.
Right, so last month you guys had authorized us to get moving on our booster pumps getting replaced. One's being repaired, or I guess what, reconstructed
Yes.
essentially. And then a second one, we put the order in, but it's 18 to 20 weeks out. So they're hoping in the next 2 weeks to get the pump that's being rebuilt to the water plant so we can get it installed.
Yeah.
So hopefully 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks.
the problem is they can't get the cast section made in China, and they just can't get that in. So that's the whole issue.
Huh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Public Works, for report.
All right, Public Works, the guys have been busy mowing. They've been working on some patching on Faust Road. They did some drainage work on Sweetsford before the paving of the road. They've been doing some intersection work, road mowing, line painting, upgraded some road signage, and then random work orders. The backhoe did have its 500-hour service, and replaced the auto sensor on the road mower transmission. That was under warranty.
Okay. All right. Civil engineer report?
Okay, first of all, I apologize that the engineer's report is not in your packet. I dropped it off here, so that was my bad. But I did update the engineer's report for the month of August. You have a copy of that in front of you. Really, the only two things there that are new or worth talking about was I added the three-dog information to the report. Kind of talks about the review letters, the conditional use hearing, so on and so forth. And then the other item is as far as Faust and Sweetsford, Tracy kind of touched on it, but Sweetsford was completed, milled up, paving went down, tried to disrupt SPCA as minimally as possible, and Faust Road is under construction now. So right now, we're putting in, I think, all three of the driveway pipes have gone in. We've got some work to do to tie them in, and then the inlets in the pipe is working its way up Faust Road as we speak. I would suspect that everything should be done by Labor Day, would be my guess. We probably have about another 2 weeks of everything that is not the road work, and then they will do any kind of base repairs, and overlay would be the last thing that would be done. That probably about a week worth of work at the most.
So we'll have to coordinate with the school district then, because they start on the 21st.
Okay.
Okay.
But up until now, we've been able to let traffic through.
Good.
So.
Okay. All right. Building inspector's and zoning report.
All right, the inspector processed 5 permits this past month and conducted 8 inspections. With regard to zoning issues, I think the issue on Gravel Pike has been fairly well resolved. Ken, does that sound right? We're in pretty good shape with the property on Gravel Pike.
Still on property, yes. Yeah, very quiet.
Okay. And I believe folks have driven by the property at the corner of Perkiomenville and Deep Creek, and we haven't seen anyone living there lately. We have not received a response from that resident, so we're assuming she's, at least for now, relocated. I think those were some of the big ones at this point. There is a property on Perkiomen Avenue that the county is looking at the possibility of purchasing with flood fund, FEMA funds to demo it with some of the other parcels. I think they just did an appraisal of it, so they're deciding if that's a possibility. Okay.
Okay.
So, it was brought up, I guess, 3 meetings ago regarding the structure at Perkiomenville and Deep Creek. There's no way to get in touch with her, because I think we made a move, we had made a move to at least
Right,
pursue
that's the one
something.
who I said she's not there.
Yeah, but there's absolutely no way to get in touch with her? All
I
right.
mean, she's been given a violation letter for living in her trailer. She appears to not be living in her trailer at this point. So, it may be that there's still a violation for high grass though. That was another one at the corner, at the intersection there. Our guys would do a quick sweep with their road mower, except she has pieces of rebar sticking up along there, and so they're not willing to take a chance of
Sure.
hitting that.
Okay.
Okay?
Planning commission.
Planning commission last month was interesting. Myers was there, which you heard tonight, and then also Mr. Hendricks came. He was not satisfied that the township was not willing to work with him on his terms, and so he placed his apartment plan on the podium and said he's just gonna move forward with that. So, we have not heard anything from him since. The plan he put up showed that he could do 319 units, which included 260 apartments and 59 single-family detached units. We don't know that he actually can get that by right with the code. So the chairman of the planning commission just told him to go ahead and see what he can do per the code. So we're just waiting at this point.
All right. Regional planning commission.
I don't believe they had a meeting this past month.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec met on July 27th at 6 p.m. to discuss movie night down at Spring Mountain, movie on the mountain with Lower Frederick and Upper Salford who are involved. That'll be on September 16th, showing of Luca.
Okay.
Also to discuss Community Day, which is planned for September 30th, so preparations are underway and going. Next meeting will be August 15th.
Okay. Good. Manager update.
All right, so, Perkiomen Crossing, you know, we are continuing to do some research regarding, the possible hydrant, water main upgrade. I'm waiting for Linda, our treasurer, to get me some numbers on our current existing situation with our water and sewer accounts, so we can get a clear idea of what we have in reserve versus, you know, what we would have to finance and how that would look in terms of increasing potentially fees. So that will be in September, that we'll come back to you with that. With regard to other updates, last week it was brought up, it was questioned whether or not we could have require brake retarders in this area along Big Road from Perkiomenville and Knifer. And we researched the process, and to move forward, we need to submit a written request to PennDOT to authorize us to adopt a brake retarder ordinance. And then if PennDOT tells us that we are allowed to do that, then we would pass the ordinance, and then we would have to leave it up to the police to enforce. So if you guys would like me to move forward with sending that letter to PennDOT, I can do that, and we can at least see what PennDOT has to say.
I think you should move forward. Frank's brought it up many times, and I guess there's other people that might not be here that have an issue with it, so let's see how far we can go with it.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. All right, vegetation at Colonial and Fagley'sville was trimmed back. Concern was expressed about potholes at 73 in Fagley'sville. PennDOT's been contacted twice about them. Our crew did go ahead and go out and place some hot patch on the one closest to Lords and Ladies, because he thought that was the most problematic one, even though technically he shouldn't be going out and doing work on PennDOT's roads. They went ahead and did that, just to kind of help the situation there until PennDOT can address it. Last month, we talked about a delinquency regarding water and sewer payments in Perk Crossing with one of the residents. Ken did send a letter to the mortgage company that has, I guess, do they have a lien on the property as well? Or just the
We
mortgage
have
company?
multiple liens. They have,
They
the
do,
bank has a mortgage,
yeah,
first
okay.
mortgage.
So anyway, you called to see if they would be interested in buying out our
Right.
debt, basically? you heard anything?
But no, they didn't respond, and the letter only went, not too many weeks ago, so.
Yeah, okay, all right. And we're also trying to find out if the owner did in fact apply for financial assistance from an organization that offers that. So we'll continue on that. Schoolhouse design update, we're hoping to have a couple concepts for the schoolhouse here at your September meeting to go over with the new architect. They seem really receptive and creative with some ideas there. We did get the EV charger, and we're moving forward with getting it installed. We found that we do have conduit actually already from a pole out along the frontage to the building. So we're hoping we can get that new electrical line installed fairly quickly, and then get one run out for the EV charger. We're still working on the website update. Once we have a pretty solid working model of that, we'll send it to the board for you guys to double check, and then schedule it going live with it. With regard to the fire alarm update, last month we talked about concerns about false alarms, false fire alarms. I did meet with representatives from Frederick Living, and in June they entered into a revised agreement with their fire alarm company that they think is going to help minimize the false alarms from that standpoint. They're also going to do an assessment of their web coverage, because they think maybe what's also happening is when there's a power outage, there might be gaps that are triggering alarms. So they're gonna do those two things. So at this point, I would suggest maybe we give them some time and find out how things go for the next few months as far as alarms and false alarms, and then revisit that. We're looking into having an electronic and a shredding offering on the community day. Kate and I talked to a company that can do both. We're just waiting to hear if they have availability. If it can work out, we would set them up over at the Lutheran Church, so that people can circulate through and do that. So we'll let you know if that's a possibility, and we'll work with the Parks Board on that. Our emergency management coordinator is resigning this month, so we do need to find a replacement. Our deputy is Jared Landis, so I've checked with him to see if he can step in for the fall drills. Since he's the deputy, I'll get back to you on that.
I'd also suggest Jeff Stiegelman was the previous.
Who is it?
Jeff Stiegelman,
Okay.
so you might be able to help.
Thank you. All right, there has been some issues with Blazinski's trash containers not getting picked up. The company has indicated that they intend to pick them up, but we're getting quite a few calls from upset residents that their trash cans are still sitting there. Kate said she heard tonight that Senator Pinchuk is working with them to try to get these things picked up. So if not, we may have to have a conversation about if there's anything we want to do to help.
Yeah, we should find out how many trash cans we're talking about.
Okay.